ladies' room.
Welcome to another episode of the Random Loungecast. I'm here with my family. We got
Aston,
Mo,
Christina. Welcome back.
Let's go.
I was just talking to my random castmates because we haven't talked in a while.
It's been a bit.
And I was talking about the fact that I'm outside again.
Why are you outside again? Tell them why.
My oldest daughter just turned 21.
Ooh!
Yes.
Take a drink to that.
Facts.
Cheers. And my youngest daughter turned 16. So I'm just enjoying the fact that, you know, I had children young. I mean, I wouldn't promote it. You wouldn't promote it because you want to have children when you're stable. But being a young mom means now that I'm 40, I'm outside.
You're outside.
But you know what? So I had my kids when I was older, right? Because all I heard when I was growing up was like, you know, you need to wait to have your children. You need to be established.
Absolutely.
Which, you know, I don't want to say it didn't necessarily happen, but I had them older. So I feel like I wish that I had them when I was younger. So do you actually feel like, not to say that you would advocate for it, but do you feel like there is an advantage to being in any, I know that's like a weird question, but is there an advantage to being, aside from like the energy that you have to kind of like be interactive with them, are there any other benefits that you see to like being a mom, you know, from a young age?
I think it's kind of tied to the energy part of it. I always say, you know, I was kind of going to school while I was raising my children. So I had the benefit of being around amazing minds that helped me learn about child development and things like that. So it made me a better parent. So I think the openness and the energy to have that extra to learn was a benefit. My daughters told me that they liked having a young mom when all the other moms were older. They liked the fact that I was younger. And I think I was a little bit more fun because we did kind of grow up together, which is a good and a bad thing. So I would say that's an advantage. And I do think you have more energy for it. But what I see with people who have their children older, they have wisdom and patience. And you really can't pay for that.
Yeah.
So my son is 18. He is a freshman in Morgan State.
Oh,
And then I have an 8-year-old daughter, so I kind of am able to compare where we are. And sometimes my son tells me, like, you didn't do this with me, and you let Corey get away with this. And now that he's 18, he has a girlfriend, and they really are in love and all that other stuff, for what you know is love at 18. My words to him is always just do not make any permanent decisions off of temporary emotions. Like you look at your girlfriend or your boyfriend at that age and you're like, we're going to be together forever, but you just don't know. Yeah. And now he is of the age that I was when I had him.
It's crazy.
So me and a friend of mine were having this, not debate, but we were talking about, well, what's a mistake? Because my son is not the mistake. Right. The mistake is that at 18 years old, I didn't know enough about who I was to have made sure that I chose the best father for him.
Period.
So unfortunately, his testimony is about a story of a young black man not having a father in his life. Now, had I had waited a few more years, I got a chance to know myself a little better, perhaps I would have chose better. Then, on top of that, had I had waited a few years and had a better job, I would have been able to afford him a better lifestyle. Like, we didn't get a chance to travel every year. There's been times when he said to me, like, and I know y'all might have heard it, you know, your kids might say, like, oh, I wanted to ask for this, but I know you might not have it right now. That breaks my heart. For him to have to feel like I shouldn't ask my mom for it. And I appreciate the empathy. Like, I'm raising a very empathetic young man. But had I had waited a little longer, 18 is cute, you know, but if I would have waited till maybe I was 26, 27 and kind of
Period.
knew myself
Yeah.
more, was more stable, I could have given him a little bit more.
Absolutely.
You know?
I'm definitely like an advocate of waiting. And I think that I tell all of like my little cousins and just like younger women that I know to wait. And it's not even
Absolutely.
necessarily so much about like the child themselves, like, you know, parenthood itself. It's also about just like making sure that you've made room in your life for knowing yourself. Even at my older age of having so my daughters are 13 and 10, but even though I had my children later in life, I tell people all the time that I feel like I was asleep for like 30 something years of my life. And then I woke up, I had a child, and there were like all of these things that I had to like know and like I didn't know. And, you know, so you start to move with like impulsivity and urgency, and like it just weighs on you so much. So I'm definitely an advocate for saying like, take time, even in relationships. Cause I feel like a lot of times women will not give themselves the time to kind of like spend time with themselves. And you can tell me as a man, I don't really know too much about like if a man bounces from woman to woman, and I hate to like shift the conversation, but just to add this piece that I feel like oftentimes like we don't allow ourselves the opportunity to kind of like have a break in between relationships.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So that time of like solitude and getting to know yourself. And I know you had mentioned something before about how solitude contributes to growth. You know what I mean? And like, I believe that wholeheartedly.
Yes.
You know, Jesus went in the cave.
Very much.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's just like, I feel like we don't do that enough. And so I'm always going to be somebody who, and I'm a girl's girl, I'm always going to be somebody who tells women to like, wait, get to know yourself first.
Period.
You know what I'm saying? Because then you can
Absolutely.
set a standard, you know, for like what you want because you know yourself.
You know what you
know
want.
what I'm
I think I'm kind of opposite though, because I feel like one, I had my kids at 24, so I think that's kind of average.
Kids, Aston.
Yeah, I got 3. Look,
Oh my.
this is it. You thought these were gang numbers?
I thought that was
Shout out to the
Brooklyn
baby
Circus. I thought he had a Brooklyn Circus
Yeah,
tattoo.
these are all my little ones. Yeah, so I have a 15-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 3-year-old.
Wow.
And it's weird. So one, regarding like the age, I think it's kind of cool to do it early because to some degree, I feel like as you mature as an adult and you actually get more stabilized, you actually start to want to have more fun. When you're younger, you're actually living and you're wilding out.
Good question.
But
I'm sorry.
if you had the kids early, it kind of mellows you out. And then again, now you're like Christina, you got your career set, your vibe is good, money right. Now you get to go outside. Like how much, like were you really traveling at the age of 20, 24, whatever? You know what I mean? Maybe so, but you can do it much better at an older age.
Okay, can I ask this question?
Sure.
Do you believe that you've said that you kind of like are an advocate for having, not advocate necessarily, but you're okay with having had your children at a younger age because the role and responsibility of fatherhood or a father is different
Talk about
than the responsibility, right, of what we as mothers have to bring to parenting.
Can I just, before you answer that, I'm sorry.
You ready for this? Okay.
Always.
Did you guys hear the story about the woman, the homeless woman whose children
yes.
died
They
Yes.
froze
in the
to
car?
death.
And did you
Yeah.
see the interview with the father afterwards?
I did. There was an interview with the father, and he was like, "Yeah, she called me, but there's a difference between calling me to come
because you
get the
need-
kids
because
and
you need me.
because
Or
you're
because you
homeless
want-
and
yes.
just calling me to come get the kids. I was
Wild.
working,
Wild.
you know, and I think it is a real illustration of what you just said. How, you know, and whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, it seems that women and moms take on so much more of a role in that.
I mean,
parenting.
it starts off from how the baby is brought to this world. Like they grew in
Yeah.
you. You know what I mean? We planted the seed, but like you were the pot. You know what I mean? So it's just like, of course, y'all gonna naturally literally, y'all have a neurological connection while that baby is inside of you. So ultimately, yeah, you're gonna be a lot more mentally changed while going through the process. But it's also the same because as men, like we're trained as we grow up to be providers. You know, not even if it's not set like that, you're a provider. The idea is like even when we're kids, right? In order to get the girls, I got to be a certain type of fly. I have to have, so I have to get these things. So naturally, I have to. Versus women, y'all are accepted for your pretty selves. Like the hardest, I mean, I'm not trying to belittle it, but guys aren't like, I wonder how smart she is. Like, you know what I mean? They're looking like, yo, she cute. Versus a guy, you're like, is he cool? Does he play sports? How's he dressing?
We got an audience question.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so two things. One, in regards to your comment about, being mellowed out after having a child.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the difference between men and women, right? It mellows you out because you think, okay, well, I can be home and be provided and protected.
Uh-huh.
Whereas a mom, we have the constant worry, right? It's that untold mental load that we have every single day of their life. Something happened at school, is it okay?
Okay.
I had lunch. Or when I do this with other clothes,
Right.
don't judge us, right? We do things that we think about on a daily basis. Whereas, you might check out about something else because you think about being a provider as opposed to having that worry.
Okay.
So I think that's the difference in that regard, right?
Okay.
And also in regards to being an older parent versus a younger parent, I'm 43.
Me too.
I'm 7 years old, and like he speaks 3 languages, and I
Wow.
have a nanny for him. There's been things, and to be able to provide that for him is
You got money.
I don't want that like
Period.
that struggle, that stress of like, I've lived that.
Mm-hmm.
The nanny is new. So I was there for the last 7 years. Right?
Yeah.
But I've also known my mom has about 5 kids and 3 not their kids. Right?
Wow.
So I've seen
Oh,
that.
y'all have money. It's not just you. Y'all have money.
Overall, I've seen that I've lived that.
Mhm.
I've been like, the auntie, the nanny, the babysitter, the person that calls, don't call my brother no more, don't call my nanny no more, he's my brother, it's my phone.
Mhm.
So when you have those experiences, you've been a mom for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whereas y'all don't have that.
That's not
Yeah.
true.
Well, possibly. Well, okay, so it depends, right? If
Uh-huh.
you're the older brother and something's happening to you, you have to step up and be protective.
No,
Or, okay, your perspective. That's my perspective.
I understand.
Right? But I feel like being an older mom gives me the opportunity and space. Like I've done all that, traveled.
That's
Mhm.
beautiful.
I've been my own stuff, 22, 23. And so to be able to sit my ass home to relax and play depart on the floor with my son, that matters to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've done it. I've been there, done that. So
Mhm.
don't worry about that.
Okay.
That's how I see it.
Mhm.
Whereas a mom, you're 24, 22, 23, how am I make this work? How am I going to do this? And again, I'm not saying that's everybody's situation.
Mm.
But that's what I would think for me. If I were a younger mom, that's how I would think. How would I get through this? What can I do? And how can I be a more present mom at that time, that age, my child, as opposed to the experience and what I've learned through and recognizing this is the kind of mom I want to be
Mm.
prior to having a child.
And can I add to that too? And that's such a great point. But also,
Yes.
I think that it's not just that. I think that for a lot of, I can't speak to other cultures, but I feel like a lot of Black women, not only are we, we're handling the domestic duties, but we're also working. A lot of us work full time.
And just to repeat
know?
what she said, she was, speaking to your point about mellowing out. And she was kind of speaking to the point that women are mellowed out already.
Mhm.
We're already kind of in tune with that because of how we're raised and socialized. And we don't have to wait for a baby to be mellowed out. And also she was saying that she's able to give her child so much as an older mother. She has a nanny, she's able to get down and do art. She doesn't have that anxiety that a younger mother has trying to scramble and do things. So beautiful thing. Thank you for that
Nor
question.
is she trying to find herself as a
Yes.
younger mother.
Yes.
Like when I had my son, 18, a couple of years later, got out the military because I had him. And now it turns into, I want to go outside.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why I met Aston. I met Aston semi-fresh out the army, going outside with the girls, wanting to party, but also knowing that I'm a mother. And then I look back now, my stepmom, she would have my son sometimes, and I'd go home to go get him or go to her house to go get him after leaving the club. And she's like, you're not leaving, it's too late. And now I'm looking back at 38 years old, like, girl, where did you think you were going with your kid at 3 o'clock in the morning anyway?
But now I would say, look at how, because you were partying at a younger age where you had your son, at the time in which he started partying, because you aren't so far off, you're actually able to give him helpful advice versus, if you would have had him later on. So like with her, she's a little bit older. So now when her son, if she's 43 and her son is 7, right? By the time her son is 20, she'll be 56.
So you
now
think it's a separation
the
in
social
generation?
the social society will be different. See what I'm saying? So even the advice might not connect as well. The world doesn't change, but it's different when you listen to Jim Jones and your kids don't know who Jim Jones is.
So this is the thing. I guess we would have to figure out what's more important. Is it more important that me and my son listen to the same cultural music? Or is it more important that I make a certain amount of money so I too can have a nanny if I need one?
So that's what we can actually get into, because the idea is there's pros and cons to both, right? You're either like, I think another thing is like, I have two sons. Like it would have been nice if my sons were the older ones while I was younger and, doing certain things versus the idea of, like you said, connecting. Like to me, I think there's, like I said, pros and cons, but it's going to be situational.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's
like, I know
fair.
you damn sure wouldn't change how things are going right now.
I wouldn't, it's hard to say you would go back and change your life. But yes, there are times because I wasn't able to give my children certain things that, yes, I would have liked to go back and give them the best and the ideal.
Right.
Because they deserve that.
Like, it's pros to learning together, but at the same time, you don't want to be learning while you're trying to teach your kids.
But I am still very happy to be outside right now.
We do have another audience question. Lex in the Ross City.
Young man with the do-rag.
Project.
I want to hear about the time when Lola and Aston met. I want to hear about that era when y'all met.
Oh man, we met when.
I want to know what was going on. I
So-
want to know how many kids was involved. I want to know all of that. I want to elaborate on that.
She said how many kids was
Do you remember? I don't know.
So
Shit, he just popped up one day.
I know the time frame. We met when New York City was lit. Like
Night like lit. Oh
Lit
my
like
God.
people
Circa
weren't.
what? Give us details.
All right, example.
Circa
Paint the picture.
2009, 2000.
Earlier.
Okay.
No, it couldn't have been.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
7 days, 7
So
nights
like
era.
when we were in the clubs, people weren't drinking Moet. They were drinking Clico. They would drink. You know what I mean? It was different.
It was a
different.
time.
You know
It
what I mean?
was a time.
Oh, we made Nouveau lit.
Yeah.
Like people were coming to the parties. We used to see celebrities every day. You had Monday parties, Tuesday parties. Like
Yes.
Gin Pop partied on Fridays and Saturdays.
We didn't
We
go
were
to
partying
party.
Sunday,
Not
Thursday.
Gin Pop.
So like
Yeah.
when I had my daughter, I actually was in Strata nightclub on 21st and Broadway. Like I got the call like, oh shit, bottle in hand. I'm like, you take this. You know what I mean?
Look,
Point
was
proven.
Lola a baddie? Was
No,
Aston a baddie?
Listen.
So Lola's always been a baddie. I was a shrimp. I was a shrimp.
Just appear like this.
You know what's
No,
funny
Lola was
is,
always like this.
so before we get into our Black History topic, right? Because we were
Yes.
talking about something that really made me think about our Black History topic.
Yes.
When Aston says things like Lola was a baddie, while I do appreciate it, right?
Is it the was?
I did not feel that way. I didn't feel that way because I was a young mother trying to find myself, hanging out with girls that I thought were prettier, dressed nice, more feminine. The boys liked them. Who knows if at the moment I may have been going through postpartum and didn't even know it because I was such a young mother that I didn't know.
Wow.
So it's beautiful to see how the world may have seen me,
Right.
but did I necessarily feel that way about myself? And then on top of that, trying to also raise a child in that era. You know what I mean? So I appreciate the love, but that shows you that you really have no clue what people are going through on a daily basis. We do have
true.
another audience question. I'm sorry. Question.
Hi guys. So my question is, you made a comment about the difference between age of a mother and a child, and being able to difference of what they go through. But I think my question to you is, do you think that parent that can say, you know what, choose you,
I'm sorry.
Choose
Repeat
who?
that.
I'm sorry.
choose you, right? Or these are the kind of things you want to look for, right? Or just being able to give them that foundation that we have as kids because of that ability of knowing the kind of parent you want to be and being able to speak to your children about these particular things, right? That you may not necessarily consider to talk to your child about at a young age. What do you think about that? How do you think that plays into?
Wait, you said, do we
So-
think that telling our children?
So she mentioned.
Because an older parent, right, being able to tell your children and having the knowledge and wisdom to tell them, choose people that choose you, right?
Okay.
Do we think what?
And how to pick your friends, do things that you've gone through already,
Right.
as an older parent,
Right.
where you may not have even gone through as a 20-year-old parent, right? And being able to give them that point of wisdom. Do you think that's not important to be able to give to children?
So that's what I think there are pros and cons to having kids young and having them older. That's definitely one of having them older. Being able to say, hey, having that circle that's more balanced so that you're able to give your kids that knowledge. But there's also, again, like I said, there's something special to I think being younger and just having that vigor and that connection. You know what I mean? Like me and my daughter, I'm able to actually connect with her because I'm not too far off. Right. Versus my mom, I'll say one slang word and she's like, huh? You know what I mean? So
There's pros and
again,
cons.
I think what you said was pretty dope. I think that, again, I prefer having my kids younger. And technically I'm midway because I had kids at 24, but I also have a 3-year-old. You know what I mean? And I'm 39. Honestly, I think the more kids you have, the more you're able to share. That one kid is getting whoa, you're learning everything with that one kid. It's 2, 3, and those other kids that kind of get the most of the real good information because you saw what happened with the first one, So
Can I add? I think for me that it really depends on the type of parent that you are, and that has a lot to do with the type of person that you are, and that has a lot to do with the time that you've taken to invest in yourself. I think, and this is generationally why it's so important to take time to invest in yourself, your mental well-being, your overall mental health, reading, all of these things. Because I remember one of the things that my mother kind of stressed to me about, I didn't have the best relationship with my father. And my mother would say, your father forgot what it was like to be your age. And that was something that I carried with me into my parenting. Because I always, even though, yes, the world actually does change. And although you want to kind of not be so tight that you don't allow your child to go out and have certain experiences, I do believe and I value those traditions that we did have and that we were instilling in our children about having respect for yourself, about, just not allowing anybody to talk to you or accept any sort of any sort of behavior. I value those things. And so those are things that I instill in my child, even as an older parent. But one of the things that I actually want to ask you guys is because it was something that as someone who, is an advocate for therapy, one of the things that came up for me was parenting my child from a place of trauma. And so one of the things that because I grew up during the, children are to be seen and not heard, and conversations weren't being had as much as in the past as they are now. And I think that we're all collectively as a Black community doing a great job about our mental, overall well-being.
Very good job.
But I remember that because my relationship with my father was estranged as a result of that. And my mother was kind of one of those parents, even though we have a phenomenal relationship, she was one of those parents that was kind of I'm going to let you learn on your own. So there were a lot of conversations that I did not have. And as a result of that, when I had my children, I wanted to have a conversation about everything. So what that did was kind of set a foundation or framework for my child that she thought that everything was negotiable and that we can talk about everything.
Yep.
So there was an imbalance there. Wow. And so I'm curious to know, and we're still working through those things, but I'm curious to know, are there any things that you all have have come up as traumatic for you that you kind of carried into your parenting that you've had to reframe and rework?
There are small things that I've done. I have a problem with people that are not nice, right? Or I'm good at cutting people off when I feel okay, the energy is not reciprocal. I'm going to let you go. And that goes for anything. When my son was in maybe 3rd grade, he's such a sweet kid to this day. So his name is Tahir. It means pure, virtuous, and holy. And he really embodies that, right? So in 3rd grade, we're sitting at the bus stop. He's saying hello to this girl, and she doesn't say hi back. And he says, let's say her name is Amy. Hi, Amy. Hi, Amy. Hi, Amy. And I finally was stop talking to her. If she doesn't say hi to you, you don't say hi to her. And he said at 8 years old, well, Mom, if every parent tells their child not to speak unless they're spoken to, then no one will ever speak.
Wow.
You're 8 years
Not
old,
the
but he's
baby.
so right. Like,
Not the baby.
that was literally me parenting out of my own trauma, because it's like, you don't want to be my friend. Because I used to want to be
Yes.
Monique
Yes.
Henderson's best friend. I used to want to be her friend so bad that I'd get the candy from the store. Remember the little gum balls that used to come with the tattoo in the box and stuff? And I'd be like, if I give you some candy, will you be my friend? And she'd, sure, I'll be your friend. And then I'll give her the candy. And she'd be like, psych, bitch.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, we should find her and cancel her.
Monique.
But saying that to say, because of those moments in that same age of that he was, I'm telling him, don't try to be her friend. She doesn't want to be your friend. And that is me parenting out of trauma. And you don't even realize that those little minuscule moments are traumatic for you.
I don't think that people realize that when you have a child, it's not about you. Like, people see children as an extension of them. And this is a whole nother individual, a whole different human being that's coming out of you with a different temperament. And your job is to lead that person to their purpose, not work out your trauma. That's why we have issues in all the relationships. They do.
They all the trauma sometimes.
I remember from my kid. FTK?
Right. FTK.
I remember for my daughters, when I saw them disappointed for the first time because of their father, it like broke me, and it was something that I couldn't do anything about. And I remember after that, I never used to tell them anything. They would always be surprised, like, yeah, we're in Disney World now. They're like, oh, okay, we're getting on a plane. And my oldest daughter came to me and told me one time, she was like, that gave me a lot of anxiety, never knowing what was happening.
Oh, wow.
And so what it was is I couldn't deal with disappointment. It had nothing to do, because kids have to learn how to be disappointed.
Right.
Wow.
You know, so when
heavy.
when you're sitting there and trying to work out your own wounds on your children, then you give them new.
Yeah.
But see, it's tricky,
But
right?
pay for the therapy. That's it. Just
Absolutely.
It's tricky though, because like example, like my daughter, I feel like me and her mother were separated before she was born. So that was traumatic.
Yeah.
But I realized she didn't have as much trauma in her life. But then now going forward, my other two kids, I was with their mother, but I feel like we both had more traumatic lives. You see what I'm saying? So in the midst of us being together, like I don't think there's a right or a wrong. You see what I'm saying? Like I have two different baby mothers, and we different mothers to my children.
Okay.
Before y'all jump me.
Thank you.
Before y'all jump me.
long as you know.
Right. So, but I noticed that neither one of those situations were more right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have their different ups and downs. And like even hearing that, like the blessings that you were actually able to give your kids were actually now, you know,
Internalized differently.
right, exactly. And then the fact that we even know these things now, like you weren't hearing about being triggered and, you know, there weren't all these terms and shit. You was like, you was bad
Knowledge
or
is a
you was in a special
blessing.
class. You was smart, bad in the special class. It was only one of those, you know, it was like, that's it.
Knowledge is a blessing.
Do y'all
now.
think the two-parent household matters?
Absolutely. Period.
I
That
think-
is the ideal.
Again, it goes to ensuring that you are whole enough to choose the parent that you can build a legacy with.
Period.
I did not have the two-parent household with my son, but I had the two-parent household with my daughter. And like Aston said, it didn't work out. It still didn't work out. He and I are not together. My daughter is being raised, my house, his house. So does it matter whether you have the two-parent household, or does it matter that you've chosen the person that can help you build a legacy with? Because we could have stayed together. And I remember when he and I split, we still, you know, we would fight. Like we used to fight, right? And I broke up with him because I didn't want my daughter to see me fighting her dad. I didn't want her to see her dad fighting her mom. And whether it's physical or emotional, whatever it was, I didn't want her to see that. He eventually got with someone else, and they were physical too. And I remember thinking to myself, nigga,
Damned
if I
if you
wanted her
do.
to see somebody fighting, I might as well have stayed with you. At least she'd have had
Wow.
us together.
Wow,
So
that's
it's never
deep.
really about who's in the house or the amount of people that's in the house, rather.
Right.
It's about like literally who are the people in the house and what can they contribute to the child's better self.
So as far as that goes, like from the child's perspective, have any of you had the conversation with your child? Like, because you're with your husband, but I'll ask you and I'll ask you, because you are separated from your you know, the other parent to your child, do you think that the child themselves feels like they have to kind of like compartmentalize or show up in one way to kind of like, you know, mold themselves into the rules for this household, and, you know, then come on this side and they have to kind of like mold themselves into the rules that are with it? Like, what is the actual effects that you feel like having, and your point is true, we know that already, but if it ends up that you're not with the person, like, how do you think from the child's perspective that it affects them?
So it's tricky because like I was born in Virginia and like my father was there, my mother was in New York. So I was raised not ever having both parents at the same time, right? Now, fast forward, I'm having kids now, right? My daughter was conceived as me as a photographer. I'm running around the city 7 days, 7 nights, literally partying 7 days, 7 nights with my daughter all day. I take her to school, pick her up, but I'm not home while she sleep, right? So all she knows is my daddy is always with me and providing, right? But now my sons have me as a firefighter now. So they're seeing the structure. They're seeing me get ready. They've seen me at fires. Like they've like showed up like, oh, look, there goes that. Like, so they both received a very providing father. It's just literally, I think my daughter almost got it better because I'm literally taking her to school, picking her up, versus they're missing out on that if I'm like at the firehouse overnight. So again, it's tricky. I just think it's all based off you know what I mean? And like how you recognize your situation.
Well, first of all, shout out to New York's bravest, New York City's bravest, okay? I've known Aston.
Fighting fires.
All these years I've known him, I did not know he was a firefighter.
You would never
like
you would never
what?
I tell people I sell incense.
And I mean shit.
Yeah.
But so for that with me, my son's father, same thing. He's in a different state. But he is not proactive in any sense of the word. And I give him a lot of grace
Shit. You
because
can say it. I'll say it for you.
not even so much that he's
If you
not
see
shit,
me on the
but,
streets
you
and try
know,
to fight me, it's your fault. You ain't shit. I just said it for her. Okay. She was trying to be nice. She was trying to protect you.
I'm trying to, as I get older, I just try to remember that people do the best they can with what they have.
Right.
And his upbringing wasn't the ideal scenario.
Okay.
And then not to mention, he's also a 2-time Iraqi war veteran.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
I think
heavy.
there's a lot of PTSD,
Right.
mental.
And you were in the Army as well, right?
I was. I didn't deploy, but he did, and he deployed several times.
Yeah.
So who knows what he's seen, what he's been able to do. What I know
I take it
is
back.
that,
I'm sorry. I didn't know you was going through that, brother. That's real. My
I
bad.
mean,
I grew up in Crown Heights, but that ain't Iraq.
listen, if that's the case,
Look.
he could get a check then.
Right.
If that's the case, get a
Right.
fucking check so you can help me take care of this kid.
Right.
But now at this point, my son is 18 years old, so my son didn't really have the luxury of growing up with him. So I hope my son don't feel that I said this. My son be like, yo, every time, like the only time I think about him is when I see him log on to 2K, and I'll be like, damn, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You ain't got a job. That's what my son thinks.
Wow.
I didn't have to tell my son anything
It's
about his
observation.
father because he was able to observe it.
Wow.
With my daughter, I think
But hold on, but mind you, that might be his way of trying to reconnect. Like, you know what? Let me just play a little game. They might be talking shit to each other. They might be conversing maybe through the game, maybe. But your son's just like noticing, like, damn, through like 2K,
it's
No?
3 o'clock in the afternoon. You ain't got a job. You know what I mean? Like,
That's true.
There are other ways that you can reconnect. But that's his scenario. With my daughter, I think my daughter doesn't really think about it much, and I think because it happened early. Me and her dad split before she was even 2 years old.
Gotcha.
Because he had another girlfriend before she was even 2 years old. And I remember being like, damn, like we broke up in I left in July. He was with another woman in September.
Shout out to the fertile guys. Shout out to the fertile guys.
Listen, shout out to him, right? We went to IHOP yesterday. It was okay. We had breakfast after we dropped our daughter off somewhere.
Nice.
So it's gotten, greater later, as they said. But my daughter doesn't really have anything to compare it to because it's not like she was in the household with us for 5 years and now daddy's gone, Yeah. Like there was a moment in time when she'd be like, I want you and daddy together. But then once she saw him with a multitude of girlfriends, it just never dawned on her that mommy would want that. So now her thing is, to me, you don't need a husband. Just the fuck I do. Like, what you mean I don't need no husband? Don't do me. So I don't know. It's different scenarios. But Mo, you mentioned something about the fathers have it differently because the mothers are constantly present and having to be in the house. When we start tapping into Black history, do you know there was a moment in time when the women did not have to work, right? And not even taking into account of inflation and how
Shit,
things were different.
Like, not even just blacks in history, like women.
No,
were
but
home.
we're talking about Black history.
Okay,
so
you're
I don't
right.
care
My
about the
bad.
other
You're right.
history.
My bad.
But just saying that women did not, they didn't have to stay home. They wanted to work, right? They wanted to be able to work just because they wanted to be able to provide something for their families. The Black history fact that I wanted to talk about is that they were forced to have to take care of white families. There was no, you can't work. All right. So then fine. Okay. We don't have to work. I can stay home because my man could take care of me. That was the Black thought, right? I can stay home because my man could take care of me. And then it became, now it is illegal for you to stay home and take care of your kids. Now you have to come and take care of white ladies' kids. That is the Black history fact. We have to start thinking about how some of the things that we went through in the past have shaped where we are now.
100%.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
So now if there's that, distinction between whether we're in the house or not based on our own merit, do we want to be outside taking care of so-and-so's kids? When we hear things like someone having a nanny, I want to have a nanny just so I can take my power back.
But I think that's where the scope has to be changed too, because you hear more women saying, I need to be taken care of because I'm a pretty woman, as opposed to...
What women do you... No.
No, listen to what I'm saying.
Who you hear say that,
I'm
Aston?
saying that's projected more on social media than I need to be taken care of so I could be home with the kids and raise them properly. You're not hearing that.
Do you really hear women
Social
say...
media is not the real world.
Right.
Look.
Because what women are you... What caliber of woman is really saying, take care of me because I'm pretty? Like...
They won't say it that directly, but
Okay, so how do they
that's
say
the agenda being pushed.
I
You know what I
agree.
mean? Like...
Because I'm pretty?
I think
I
more
hold a lot of
more-
shit, damn it.
I think
you
more
don't hear
of a-
women saying, take care of me because I'll be providing stability for the house.
But if they know that they meet a certain aesthetic, which is, I think, one of the agendas
Right.
that's being pushed on our youth and our young girls, then they feel like they'll be able to snag a person or snag a man or whatever the
And
case
why
is. That
is
will be
that
able
such
to
a bad
fulfill
thing?
Certain things
Why
for
is that
them.
a bad thing? What? Why? Oh, no.
Why?
Wait, I'm coming for you in the Rosclot City.
Wait,
Because why is that a bad thing when y'all was just talking about big pimping? You know, it
So
means
wait,
you're
no,
that
no, no,
guy.
no, no.
It means you have access
no.
to all the women.
See what you getting at, but it's
But when the woman says, I look this way so I could pull dudes that could take care
No,
of
no,
me, now that's terrible?
no, hold
know
on.
what?
I don't think it's terrible.
started
If
seeing 14-year-olds with their makeup's done, their hair done, lashes.
And when you saw the
short skirts,
14-year-olds that were chasing after trying to get chicks like Jay-Z, that wasn't terrible?
it was-
You know why
hold
it's-
on.
Was
But see,
it?
Now check this out.
Was it though?
Hold on.
Be
Hold
honest.
on.
Be honest. You better see your son doing this or your daughter doing
And
this.
thank you,
That
Lex,
is not-
So
for
now,
proving my
that-
point.
Now
Be
that's
honest.
now hold on. That's where it gets tricky now, right?
That's for
so now,
proving my
with
point.
women, right? If you're a particular type of woman living a particular lifestyle, and you're saying if you want a baddie like me, this is going to be this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's the majority right now. You see what I'm saying? Like again, just I don't care. Everybody has a different algorithm, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody in this room is seeing on their algorithm, hey, you need to take care of me so I can provide stability for your home. There's even no cool way to say that. You see what I'm saying? Like that's not being, and again, that's what they want. You know what I mean? To some degree, they're showing you love and hip hop. They're showing you instant success. They're showing you can make money on TikTok just
And
being
I
gorgeous.
I agree that it's going downhill. My only qualm is that people are paying more attention because women have joined. Now it's like, this is terrible. The world is ending. When y'all been on that type of time.
But it's,
y'all don't
it's
like matched
without,
energy
it's
at
without
all.
merit. It's without merit.
How?
Huh?
If this is the messages that you're getting, that guy, if you want to be on that plane, then you got to look like this. This is the aesthetic you got to follow. If this is the messaging that you're getting, when women finally
Right.
start to use what the world has always told them is their most valuable asset, when
Right.
they start to now, commercialize it, now it's bad.
So because it's the difference between I'm a beautiful woman, I deserve to be on Sports Center because I know sports versus and all those anything like that I support. I definitely like the Eagles coach. She was one of the first black women to win a Super Bowl ring. You know, or even if I'm correct, be a coach. Yeah. She's the first. The Eagles, look it up. I don't know the shit. I just know she's the first, right? I'm all into that. I'm not into the idea of because I look this way.
But
I should receive these things.
If men for so long have been getting women because they look that way, why is it okay
question.
when
I'ma
they
tell you why.
do it?
Watch this. Answer this question. Hold on. I'm sorry. Watch this. Hold on. Look, check this out. You know why it's a problem? Because the same women that are doing that, what are they doing when they get what they want? I look this way, so I should get this, but what do they have to do?
But maybe they didn't make that. Listen, they just have to look like that.
But what do they have to provide for the man that wants that?
They are already providing the status.
No.
By
Just
how
say
they
it. They're
look.
providing sex. It ain't just, you don't just get to be a baddie. Yeah, you got a couple sugar daddies that's going to be a beautiful woman. Here you go. But it also comes with sex. Versus you don't have to fuck to be on Sports Center, Eagles coach.
This may be
true. See what I'm saying, teacher?
I think either way, the point of it is that regardless of whether that was something that men were pushing and women have now hopped on the bandwagon with, I think the point of it is that the narrative is dangerous.
Right.
And it's not
100%.
one that we want our children
we have to pay attention to a reaction.
It's okay to be a baddie until you're in a bad situation.
Right. But we don't want to kind of like spread the message that, you know, like I want my daughters to be doing it all for themselves.
They all should be treated like princesses.
I had a conversation with myself in the bathroom today, and because I do that, and I was saying like, okay, like what, you know, I'm always thinking about different things that I can add to my daughters' lives, and you know, you hear that phrase, what do you bring to the table? So I'm now saying to myself, I want to teach my daughters to be the table. Really, like be the man, should be all. But it's like, because when you are the table, you get to decide who sits at your table. You know how you've crafted it. You know what you have poured into it. You know the investment that you have made. Like, you're not going to just allow anyone to take a seat at your table and eat from, you know what I'm saying? And pull from you. So I think that's the thing that we really should be like focusing on.
So hold on real quick.
We have a question from the baddie with the bob.
Hey, Blondie.
You can use my mic. Come on. Just come on. You can use my mic. Come on. Let's go.
I'm going to come in with my sisters and your time is up, brother.
Wait, hold on. So wait. Hold on. Let me get my question, right?
All right,
so
what's your question?
I want to know, what kind of parent are y'all? So example, for me, I tell people, I'm like the lion family, right? I just make sure other lions don't eat you.
Mufasa?
And then I provide protection and I provide the food and all that, right? But everything else is kind of on you, right? I'm not like a super nurturing dad. You see what I'm saying? I just make sure shit stays safe. Y'all eat. Y'all got a place to stay, right? That's my style of parenting.
So you're a provider, but
I'm a provider and protector. That's it. Nurturing, I have my moments, but I'm not really a nurturer.
Interesting.
Well, you know, for someone like me
I'm
who
getting
does
kicked
not
out.
have the
Shit,
choice.
it's a ladies show only now.
For someone like me who does not have the choice to decide what type of parent I'm going to be, because I'm 100% full-time parent.
On
I have to be everything. I have to be the provider. I have to be the nurturer. I have to be Billy Badass. I got to be the cop. I got to be the school teacher. I don't have, and a lot of single mothers don't have the luxury of being able to say, oh, I'm not the nurturer.
Can I get a reggae?
We can't afford to not show up.
Please.
We don't have the
Was that a good enough
to not show
answer
up.
for you, Aston, or were you not listening to the answer to the question that you asked? Okay, just making sure.
But to piggyback off of that, we don't have the space to not show up.
Exactly.
We don't have a choice.
We don't get a
have
chance.
moments where we
don't
can
get
say,
the choice.
oh, I'm too tired. I can't do it. We have to do it.
Or
if that
I'm just
baby
gonna
gotta
do
go to the
this.
hospital, we have to go to the hospital. Whether that other parent show up or not, we have to do
Right.
it. And it's not fair.
In best case scenario, I'm sorry, sis. In best case scenario, even if you're with your husband, I still want to raise my daughters to be whole individuals. So I want them to be providers in their own regards. I want them to be nurturing. I want them to be compassionate, have emotional intelligence. I want them to be, you know, firm when they need to be. Like, I want them to have all of those things and still be able to seek in their partner those things as well.
But how are we raising our sons? And I say we, but I don't have any sons, so I'm looking at y'all.
I don't have any sons.
Another Black history fact.
Yes.
Right? There is a saying, and I'm not sure if this stems from the Willie Lynch letter also, but the saying was, mothers love their sons and raise their daughters.
Preach.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Preach.
With my son and my daughter both, I don't know if it's, so my mom died when I was 4, right? So I have not had that motherly love. I don't have it in me to just love my son and raise my daughter. When I see her, I see the 4-year-old girl whose grandmother had to sit her down on the steps and say, Mommy's gone.
Right.
So everything I do with her is me trying to love her the way that I wish my mother would have loved me.
Right.
So that's saying for me, you know, loving your son. I absolutely love my son, but I'm also loving my daughter as well. And I
Nice.
also crack the whip on both of them when need be.
Nice.
Ass
So,
whooped.
yeah.
Nice.
Straight up.
I'm a boy mom, and I too lost a parent at 8 years old. So with my son, I find myself overcompensating things for him because I panic. So my mom died at the young age of 35. So when I was turning 35, I panicked.
My God.
Like, I'm talking about my friends, my family. Everybody was like, are you okay? You don't want to celebrate? I was like, no. I was like in a panic mode of I'm not going to make it past 35 because she literally just turned 35. But then I also found myself cracking down on my son a little bit harder because I want to make sure that he's okay, because I felt like I was left here and things weren't okay.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna be honest, my mother didn't work, so we didn't get Social Security when she died. So I felt like other family members probably treated us a certain way because they wasn't getting that support financially for us. So now I make sure that the life insurance is, I'll pay the life insurance before I pay my damn rent.
Yeah.
Because
Let me
baby,
tell you.
Yes.
you won't fucking be doing a fish fry for me, okay?
And that's just,
But raising that son, I do find myself loving on him, but then also being stern and hard.
Right.
Because I don't want him to be no punk. I don't want nobody to walk over him. I don't want nobody to attack him. And we raising black boys in America, in this society, especially in Brooklyn, and it's hard.
it is,
So I do try to find a balance.
but it's hard.
Yeah.
So I do beat myself up sometimes, but I do find myself being Annie from Pink Houses.
Yes.
And then, and
Sometimes
shit,
we gotta
I be
scare
talking to
these
him like
boys,
this.
yeah.
But then I gotta realize, like, I'm your mom. I'm sorry, baby, come here. Because I didn't get apologies when I was little.
So look, I came back because, like, funny enough, I have 2 sons and a daughter, and the reality is, I love on my sons, but I've been raising my daughter because I feel like I have to prepare her
For the world.
Maybe no, just for the boys, and I have to uplift her so she doesn't compare herself to the girls. Now my boys, it's funny because I feel like I gotta love on them because they have so much that's gonna be coming at them, and little things like again, my daughter, she plays sports. She's super pretty, right? Super, like, she's like, it's wild. Like, she's a little woman at 15. But my boys, like, they're the ones, like, my son has hair down to his butt. You know what I mean? Like, the slanted
My
eyes,
kids too.
clear skin, all that. Like, both of my boys' hair is crazy long. So I gotta, like, I'm loving on them so that they don't feel like they kind of, right now, because they're young. But I don't want them to feel like they need to get certain things
Attention
only
from girls.
exactly just from women or
That
for how they need to
validation.
feel. So it's kind of, I just only jump back in because it's like the opposite.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, I get that
And I just want to
completely.
be back from the show. Hey, y'all.
I love that. I love that. And I told you, Prince, like I said. But yeah, I think that there's a difference in how we raise our boys and how we raise our girls as a collective. But I just point out.
Say what you said to me. You gonna say my name. Say what you said.
I'm sorry. We have an unruly audience member.
What I said.
Thank you. We have an unruly audience member.
You don't think my name is you is?
Say it all.
So what I
Say it with
said,
your
what I
chest.
said was similar to what Lola had said, that, you love your sons, you raise your daughters. I think that that's been going on for a long time within the Black community because historically raising your son could get him killed.
Yes, Black History Fact.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so, because Black women had more access because they were less afraid of us, you started to have that kind of generational trauma where let me just hide him and let me, because this
You're
girl can do
scared.
everything. Absolutely.
I'm petrified. So my stepmom lives in Florida, the great state of Florida, right? And everyone asks me, why don't I, it's a joke, why don't I move to Florida? My mom, she has a
Absolutely
beautiful
not.
home, pool in the backyard. And I said to them, and I was dead serious, my son ain't light enough. And I mean that shit with everything in me.
Yeah.
My son isn't light enough. I'm not taking my Black son to Florida.
Right.
He got a better chance in Brownsville than he do in Florida, and that's sad.
Crazy.
Absolutely.
It's sad.
But what happens is, like we were talking about with the parenting from trauma, generation goes by, generation goes by, generation goes by. And I do feel like it has resulted in a lot of women who are outpacing men, specifically within the Black community. And when, the same way that, men get on social media and complain about they're too masculine and they don't listen and they don't submit, there's a lot of Black women out there looking for leaders. And, there's a lot of Black men that aren't prepared to lead.
I just want to piggyback off that really quickly. A lot of women choose not to submit because we're not comfortable. You don't make me feel safe. You don't make me feel like you got me no matter what. A lot of men are all talk. So for me, it's like, I got me and I'm gonna only have me. And that is from my past trauma from growing up like that. I got me, I'm gonna have my kid and that's it. If I'm not comfortable with you, if you don't make me feel like if I fall today, this man is gonna lift me up, I'm not submitting.
But what Christina is saying is that is a historical issue.
Yeah.
If we're continuing to love our sons and raise our daughters, so even that, and it reminded me that does stem from the Willie Lynch letter, knowing that your son is being used, one hand, each side is being tied to a horse on each side, for the mother to sit there and watch those horses be beat and rip your husband apart. You immediately are going to love your sons and make sure that they stay strong, but you're going to raise your daughter to be able to go into Master's home, give him what he needs to be able to keep your son safe, so she can survive. So now what happens now is that we are loving our sons into a form of pacification. So the issue that you have, we are infantilizing our sons, but expecting our young girls to grow up faster than they do.
Yeah.
So we're upset with this generation. We're not giving those young boys the grace that they deserve, or the men our age the grace that they deserve, because their mothers did the best they could with what they knew how. Yeah. So now for me and you to be boy moms, we have to do things differently.
Right.
Yeah.
We have to raise our sons differently, so that way the next generation is not sitting here on a podcast talking about the same historical trauma that we're talking about.
Period.
And to add to that also, because it wasn't, I think sometimes this is how like women, Black women specifically, get lost in things, right? Because we become conditioned to be strong. We kind of like, we're protecting our sons so much, we sacrificed our daughters, right? And there's so much that Black women have to do now. So a conversation needs to be had about Black women as well, like being allowed. Like, I don't even know if most of us know like what our role as a woman is, because we've had to do so many things. We've pushed our sons into, what did you call it? Infancy. And we've pushed our daughters into masculinity. Right. And so that's a conversation, like both conversation needs to be had. Like you as a boy mom and me as a girl mom, I want to teach my daughter, yes. Like, and it's like, even we can bring it back to that trauma again, like, okay, well, you got to be strong. You got to be able to get your own bag. You got to be smart. And yes, I still want those for my daughters regardless. Right. But it's like, there's a soft side also. You know what I mean? And so I don't want the girls to get lost either. Right. Yeah.
Right. But
it's necessary.
I've been thinking about how like we all know getting up on Saturday morning, putting our music on, cleaning up. I have been struggling with, is the 8-year-old daughter of mine supposed to be doing the dishes right now?
Yes.
I don't really enforce her to do chores because I'm not certain on if I'm having her do chores because I'm preparing her to raise a household, or if because culturally at 8 years old, you should know how to wash a dish. Or is she supposed to just be watching Saturday morning cartoons? Right. And because my mother died so young, she was 28, I was 4, I don't really know what the hell I'm supposed to be doing. Right. So there's some days when I'm like, you have to do the dishes. And she's like, what? And then there's other days where I'm like, I'm just going to do the dishes. You know what I mean? So like you said, the conversations need to be had because we're raising our kids based on what we think are cultural norms. But who said it's cultural norms? Who said blue is boys and pink is girls? This is like societal shit that we've been indoctrinated into. So before we can change the world and figure out how America can accept us for who we are, we have to figure that out amongst our own people. Who the hell we are. So,
but just to let y'all know, developmentally down to like 2-3 years old, there are age appropriate chores kids can do.
What's an 8-year-old chore?
Of both sexes. Washing the dishes.
Washing dishes.
Yeah.
She could do stuff like that. But I
Ironing,
think it's
yeah.
also preparing you for the world.
Absolutely.
I just think that that's also preparing her to take care of herself. So like Christina's daughter went away to college. Your son went away to college. It's preparing them to be able, Mom, what I'm supposed to do? You already away at college. You want to prepare them for that.
Right.
I remember
Self-sufficiency.
Yeah, you want to make sure that they're self-sufficient
Yes.
and that they're being productive adults, young adults in society.
And taking that traumatic thought of I'm not raising her to raise a family and thinking about it as I'm just helping her learn how to take care of herself. You see?
Yes.
These little people are helping.
Go get my remote and bring me some ice.
I want to shout out really quick since we're talking about Black History Month.
Yes.
I just want to say that I'm talking to all these beautiful, gorgeous Black mothers, right?
I'm not there.
now that Aston's not there. And we are on a podcast. Shout out to the wonderful camera and technical guy over there. Blackface. That I'm looking at. Black Excellence.
All
We
Black
are
everything.
talking to a Black audience. Shout out to y'all. You're wonderful. I want to shout out that executive producer with the gray in his beard, with the illustrious beard. That Black director back there, you know. Right? And I just want to say, like, this is Black history. I love the fact that I'm in the building just looking at Black faces, looking back at me. It's
And
In a black
you know what I mean?
Yes.
You know what I mean? So happy Black History Month.
Yes.
Shout out to us.
Period.
And we have evolved, right? So we could like spin the conversation and talk about some things that we're
Yeah, because
proud
Lola
of.
was about to make me cry.
I saw you. I'm like, girl, don't mess
saw-
up.
that's why I
And then I
turned
would
it
have
on.
cried. Right. Then they
Soon as
be
Lola
like,
looked
see,
at me,
women
she
are
go-
just so soft.
Y'all ain't have a man.
Shut your ass up.
So, you know what? Speaking of not having a man, I was telling, now this is going to be a little girl talk.
Okay.
So I was telling the girls
Tea
that,
time.
as y'all know, the last time we spoke, we were talking about me wanting a man that is full of stability in every aspect of the word.
Oh,
for
you
people
talking about
that
when
did
you
not
broke
get
the
that.
internet?
When I
Oh,
broke
you
the
talking
internet.
about when
Yeah.
they wanted to kill
They
you.
still
When- yeah,
frying
They wanted
her
your
up.
head.
So I
Okay.
still do want that in a man, right? But I do want love. And I've been trying to talk to the executive director with Chicken in his beard about giving me my own flavor of love, flavor of Lola series.
Get the
I
man.
think so. A dating
Get the
show.
man.
Wow, shameless.
Shameless love.
Get the man.
I
Get
want
the
to know,
man.
are the girls ready to help me find or help my
Absolutely.
man find me?
Yes,
Absolutely.
I'm for it.
Absolutely.
So I want y'all to tell me what kind of man.
What about Tommy?
Oh,
Tommy too.
Tommy
Tommy
is what?
too. Yes.
we gotta
Oh,
find.
okay, but we're talking
And this
about
Tommy
this
has
is
a
girl
job.
talk right here.
Tommy look lost.
Yes.
So I just want to know,
Quiet on the set.
what kind of guys do y'all see for me? Let's talk about that.
Masculine.
Okay.
A
Very
boss.
masculine.
He can't be a worker. He got to be a boss.
Yes.
Quiet confidence, quiet strength. You know, he lets you
Not loud.
and then he just, you know, all right, babe.
Oh my God, that's what Tommy told me the guy's supposed to be like for me.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because
God,
you
there's
don't
so
you don't
much
want
I would
somebody
say.
that doesn't want you to be you.
Right.
You know, someone that
'Cause
really
you are very-
uplifts you.
yeah.
Like, yeah.
You have a bright light, and you don't want nobody dimming that.
Period.
We don't need that.
Period.
So,
We
Mr.
don't need
Spencer, in our last few minutes before we pass this episode on to the
Yeah.
next one, we just want to talk about flavor of Lola.
Oh, I
You
love
know, let me
That's
tell you
what we naming
something.
it?
Shout out to that.
Mr.
Shout out to
Spencer,
branding.
Kel Spencer and his dad have been so pivotal in my life. His father was my dean in high school.
Yeah.
Mr.
Mr.
And Mr.
Bennett.
Bennett to this day.
Not the little one.
Yes, come on,
Not
come
the
on.
little one. Oh!
This is my big brother.
When I get married, he's gonna know my wedding.
Aw.
He better.
Definitely.
Yes.
He love officiating a wedding.
So if I had to entrust
Wait, it's called the
a
Nola
guy
officiate.
to, if I had Anulla's to get rid of it, but we weren't.
So we know what you mean.
Damn.
You know what you mean. If I had to entrust someone to ensure that I was helped, so my dad is gone. You know what I mean? Now I'm gonna get emotional. If I had to have somebody pass me off to somebody, it would certainly be you.
I didn't know you could get like that.
Shout out,
No, but that's the point.
her married.
Right.
Now we have to
But
get her married.
Girl, because you got me crying now because because this man is something special. Like, I don't think you understand that we flow so well, but we didn't even know each other before this show.
That's how you know attitude reflects leadership.
And I remember this man reaching out to everybody individually, like, I see something for you. I want to do this for you. I think that you'll be dope for this. Let me know what you think. I'm not going to force you anything, but I think that you're dope. I see the potential in you. So thank you.
And did he name y'all too?
Yes, he gave everybody a nickname on what they was in the show. Like,
yes, when he
so
yes,
true.
yes, the firecracker, the spiritual firecracker was my name.
I'm the best friend. The littest.
I was just crying. Don't zoom in on me either.
So echoing this love for Lola, flavor for Lola, whatever you want to do.
Why the fuck would Lola make me cry?
All of the fellas. Talking to the camera, that camera.
Now we
that
pussy.
camera.
See?
All my single fellas.
Let's go.
I'm not trying to play matchmaker. I'm not forcing marriage on you, but all of my single fellas in New York City who are interested in companionship.
And surrounding areas.
We're going to set it up where we have eligible bachelors.
Yes.
And you will also be in a position where you could think a guy is dope, but maybe not necessarily for you. And you could go ahead and maybe dish it off here or here. So, fellas, if you are interested in this type of situation, ladies, if you have single male friends, bros, cousins, homeboys, who you think should be a part of this, send an email to holla@playtimeworldwide.net.
Let's go. Let's go.
And you could just put Lola. We have some trips coming up. We have some mansion events involved.
Yes.
We could probably tie all of this in with that. I think it could be dope.
And the key word is still stability.
Thank
you guys so much. We love y'all.
We love you.
This is another amazing episode of the Random Loungecast.
Thank you for watching. And we not pussy because we crying.
Yes, don't get it twisted.
Brooklyn all
We
day,
still
every day.
Sensitive thugs.
We all need.
The ladies' room.